Welcome back, Timbo Unchained crew. This is episode 8 of my podcast. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I've just been working on some other stuff over the past few months. I made a bunch of animal videos, some educational videos. I've also been doing some really dumbass lip sync videos that I had just a lot of fun doing. So go check them out if you haven't had a chance to. It was fun. But today's episode, so my wife and I were watching TV and a commercial came on for the Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection. My wife, of course, she doesn't miss a beat. So she goes, so that's where the confiscated Russian oligarch yachts went. Immediately a fucking light bulb went off in my head. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck did happen to those fucking floating palaces that were taken from the oligarchs? For the record, the Ritz-Carlton ships were not confiscated from oligarchs. They were custom built for the cruise line. I made sure to fact check that shit. So today, we're going to talk about some of those confiscated yachts. We're going to talk about 5 of them. The Lady M, the Phi, Sailing Yacht A, the Amadea, and the Tango. These yachts are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they've been seized by Western governments in a crackdown on the Russian elites following the invasion of Ukraine. But who owns them? Who's paying to keep them docked? And are there any legal battles going on with them? Well, let's find out. We'll start with the Lady M, a 213-foot masterpiece valued at approximately $65 million. It was seized by Italian tax authorities on March 5th, 2022 in the port of Imperia. It's owned by Alexei Mordashov. He's a steel magnate and a sanctioned Russian oligarch. This yacht has 6 cabins and a crew of 13 to cater to whatever the fuck you want. So Mordashov, one of Russia's richest men, was hit with sanctions by the European Union for his ties to the Kremlin. The seizure of Lady M was part of a broader effort to target oligarch assets, but it's not without its complications. So legally, governments have to prove that these yachts were purchased with illicit funds or are somehow are directly tied to sanctioned activities. It's not a fucking easy job. So Mordashov's team has argued that the seizure is unjust, claiming that the yacht was bought through legitimate business dealings. Now, guess who's footing the bill to keep the Lady M in tip-top ship shape? You guessed it, the fucking taxpayers. Maintenance costs for a yacht like this, it can run 15 to 20% of its value annually, around $10 to $13 million a year. Italian authorities have stated that Mordashov is responsible for those costs, but sanctions block financial transactions, leaving the yacht and just like sitting there and the bill's unpaid. So next we're going to head to London's Canary Wharf, where the 192-foot super yacht known as the Phi, valued at about $50 million US, has been moored since its detention in March 2022. The Phi is absolutely fucking sick. It's the longest yacht under 500 gross tonnage, featuring an infinite wine cellar and a 23-foot-long pool. Its owner, Sergei Nemenko, isn't on any sanctions list, which makes this case a little sketchy to me. Nemenko claims no ties to Putin's regime, and he's been fighting the UK government in court, arguing that Phi's seizure under the Russia regulations of 2019 was unlawful. The UK court upheld the detention in July 2023, citing Nemenko's Russian connections as justification. All right. Nemenko's legal team has taken the fight to the UK Supreme Court with the hearing. The hearing was set for January 16th, 2025. So today is August 2nd, 2025. And just 4 days ago, the UK Supreme Court ruled that the Phi is being lawfully detained. While the courts deliberate, UK taxpayers are covering the Phi's upkeep. Estimates suggest maintenance could reach $7.6 million annually, including crew salaries, fuel, and docking fees. The Financial Times noted that seized yachts like Phi are a growing burden on public resources. Shit seems crazy that taxpayers are the ones on the hook for all these seizures. All right, but what do I know? All right, now let's talk about a true fucking monster of a yacht with the most original name on the list, Sailing Yacht A. A 469-foot icon was designed by Felipe Stark and is valued at over $440 million. It was seized in Trieste, Italy in March of 2022. It is one of the largest super yachts with 8 decks, multiple elevators, and underwater observation area. It's owned by fertilizer magnate Andrei Melnichenko, who's been sanctioned by the EU and UK. This yacht is a prime fucking example of extravagance. Melnichenko's legal team argues that Sailing Yacht A was purchased legitimately and shouldn't be subject to seizure. However, proving ownership is tricky. Yachts like these are often hidden behind layers of shell companies and shit like that. So Italian authorities are holding firm, but the yacht's maintenance is a massive, massive fucking burden. Annual costs could hit anywhere between $66 and $88 million, and Italian taxpayers are on the hook for it while legal proceedings drag on. One of the broader impacts is felt in the yachting industry too. There's a German shipyard called Nobiskrug, which built Sailing Yacht A, and it faced insolvency because of unpaid Russian contracts. These ripple effects of these seizures, they're hitting workers and suppliers across Europe and all over there. Across the Pacific in San Diego, we find the 348-foot Amadea, valued at $300 to $325 million. Seized in Fiji in May 2022 and later transferred to the U.S., this yacht is a floating fucking resort. It's got a helipad, infinity pool, and even rumored a Fabergé fucking egg on board. The U.S. claims it belongs to sanctioned oligarch Suleiman Karimov, but another Russian, Edward Kudenatov, insists he's the true owner. The legal battle over Amadea is a masterclass in complexity, man. The U.S. Justice Department alleges Karimov hid his ownership through shell companies, citing emails showing he ordered upgrades like a pizza oven. Okay. Kudenatov, a former Rosneft CEO who hasn't been sanctioned by the U.S., claims he owns Amadea and has offered to reimburse the $30 million in maintenance cost if it's returned. Currently, U.S. taxpayers are shelling out $922,000 per month for Amadea's upkeep, including $360,000 for crew, $75,000 for fuel, and $165,000 for other expenses. New York court rejected a sale in June 2024, ruling the costs were excessive compared to similar yachts. What the fuck, not excessive? March 2025 ruling dismissed Kudanatov's claim, moving the U.S. closer to forfeiture. Still, appeals could drag on for years. What the fuck? Finally, we arrive at the Tango, a 255-foot yacht valued at $90 million. It was seized in Mallorca, Spain in April 2022. It's owned by sanctioned oligarch Victor Vekselberg. Tango's seizure was a U.S.-Spanish joint operation targeting violations of U.S. bank fraud, money laundering, and sanctions laws. The yacht's luxuries include a pool, beauty salon, and a beach club. Veskelberg, a billionaire with ties to Putin, allegedly used U.S. banks for Tango's maintenance payments after his 2018 sanctioning, a move that violated U.S. law. So his legal team has challenged the seizure, but details on their arguments are fucking scarce. Meanwhile, the U.S. is also paying for Tango's upkeep, with costs estimated at $13.5 to $18 million annually. But those exact figures are a little less clear. The Tango shows the global coordination behind these seizures. Spain acted on a U.S. warrant showing how far the net is cast to target oligarch assets, man. I mean, what the fuck? But like the others, the Tango remains in limbo. It's an expensive-ass trophy, if you ask me, for fucking sanctions enforcement. These 5 yachts, the Lady M, the Phi, the Sailing Yacht A, Amadea, and Tango, put together, they represent over $1 billion in seized assets. But it's not just about the money. It's about all the legal bullshit of proven ownership, this financial strain on taxpayers, and this fucking geopolitical chess game playing right out in front of our fucking faces. Like, really. Ownership disputes hinge on complex webs of shell companies, making it hard to pin down who really controls the yachts. Sanctions are aiming to pressure the Russian elites, but the cost $7 to $88 million annually per yacht, depending on the yacht. They're paid by the fucking taxpayers in the U.S., Italy, and the U.K. The legal battles are going to stretch on for fucking years with their appeals and counterclaims and all that bullshit. They do finally sell these super yachts after confiscating them. If it's years, they're going to pay more than the value of the yacht, but where's that fucking money go? And then there's the human cost. Shipyards like Noviskroug and Damon are laying off workers due to unpaid contracts. Crew members are stuck, sometimes unpaid, as the yachts just sit there. The U.S. hopes to sell yachts like Amadea to fund the Ukraine's war effort, but the process is not straightforward. These super yachts, they're like a tale of wealth and power and fucking consequences. It's crazy. Lady M, Phi, Sailing Yacht A, Amadea, and Tango, they're not just these fucking super boats. They're like battlegrounds for international law and geopolitics. As legal fights continue and maintenance bills keep fucking climbing, when's it gonna end? Are the fucking taxpayers supposed to keep paying up for the upkeep of this shit? Man, I don't know shit about fuck, so I couldn't tell you, but I do find it pretty interesting that we're paying this shit when we didn't have a choice in the matter. I'll step off my soapbox now, but I hope that you learned something in this episode. Subscribe, leave me a comment. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Timbo Unchained, and we'll see you next time, guys.
They call me a god.